Hey, what's going on? It's Harry here. I'm back with another video. On Monday, Apple released their keynote. I guess that's, you could say releasing it. They did a keynote on a bunch of new stuff that's coming to the Apple product line. And the most interesting thing out of everything that was talked about was the Mac Pro and its display. Of course, as soon as it dropped, the internet as a whole was just like, heh, that stand, tons of memes are already, coming out about the XDR display stand. A lot of things, people are saying, oh, the Mac Pro is at, starts at $6,000, like I can't buy it. It got me thinking, you know what, can I figure out a way to justify the expense of the Mac Pro and its display? Like, can I do that? So I've been doing a little bit of research over the past few days, and I was thinking about it. I believe that I can totally justify the Mac Pro's price tag as well as its display's price tag. So here we go. Okay, so the reason that the Mac Pro is as expensive as it is, even just starting out at $6,000, the reason it's that way is because of the hardware capabilities. That is absolutely a duh and, kind of an eye roll statement. It absolutely is one, but the point of me saying that is because the Mac Pro is not at all for consumers. It's not for consumers, it's not for prosumers, it's not even for certain people within the professional world. In fact, I would say it's not for a lot of people within the professional world. With its price tag, Apple is indicating, at least to me, that it belongs in the world of true professionals. The Mac Pro, that Pro, which is short for professional, that is a true statement. This computer is designed to be used by pro users. Now, let's define what a pro user is in the context of the price tag of the Mac Pro, as well as its display. The market for this computer could probably be defined as people who are editing the next Marvel film, or wait, they're making other ones, right? This computer is absolutely not for consumers, prosumers, even kind of if you want to say lower tier professionals, even for individuals such as those, this computer probably isn't for them either. People who work in Hollywood, people who are heavily into, 3D animation and stuff like that, but make, like, they're on the production pipelines for the Disney films. You have people who are recording music in studio for some of the top artists in the world, and they need a really beefy machine and something that it's not going to fail on them. They're not going to just have random issues, because that's just a big no-no in the pro industry. They're going to buy something like the Mac Pro because it's actually affordable for them. If it's incredibly expensive and to the general public, it seems ludicrous. It's ludicrous that you would pay $1,000 for a stand. To the people in the professional world, they kind of get it in a way that, unless you are in that world, you'll never quite understand. So up on your screen right now is a lens by Fujinon. This is a box lens. This would be used for something like, the National Football League. Like this lens could be, potentially used on just a standard camera that is used to shoot, the Super Bowl. Like, that's the tier that this lens is at. Now guess how much it costs. It costs over $200,000. This is a lens, mind you. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with this lens, but it's still $200,000, or over $200,000. This lens is not at all meant for me as a prosumer type person or content creator. It's not meant for even certain professionals. It is meant for high-end multi-million-dollar production. We're gonna buy 10 of these lenses and use them at, in the next Super Bowl or something like that. That's the market that this lens is targeting. Fuji is not at all trying to look down, at someone like me and say, hey, we buy this lens. Come on, I know you don't have, you just graduated college, don't have any money, but can you buy this lens? The answer is no. I will never be able to buy a lens like that. But Fox can. Second item, this is a Sony broadcast camera. I won't stay on just, broadcast and stuff like that. Broadcast is very expensive. This camera is $96,000 and it only shoots 1080p. Now, there are a lot of very special things about the camera that warrant the price, but again, to the general public, that's ludicrous. almost $100,000 for just a camera. Like I have my phone here. I can shoot video on my phone. I can shoot 4K video on my phone. This thing only does 1080p. Garbage. It's absolute garbage. Well, it's not absolute garbage. And in the mind of professionals, there's a time and a place for a type of camera like this. Next item, this API mixing console. This console is going to be used in recording studios and stuff like that. It's an analog console. It has a distinct sound quality to it. This console costs almost $40,000, and it only has 16 channels. 16 channels. It only has 16 channels. If you mic up a drum set, and it's a fairly standard drum set, for example, and it's you're gonna have maybe like 8 mics on it or something like that, you have used half of the channels on this console. But this console has a distinct sound to it. It has just the quality of it can't really be replicated. It's something that it produces on its own, and people like that sound and they want that sound, and that's why you're gonna have people who are willing to pay $40,000 or more. There's consoles that are like 48 channels, and they're $250,000. And there are some consoles out there that are they're famous for the sounds and the records that they've produced, and therefore they're $500,000 or even more. The point is, the price tags in the professional world, when you really get into it, are astronomically high. In conclusion, the people who can afford the Mac Pro are the same companies and people and individuals who are able to buy something that's incredibly expensive and seems kind of just ridiculous in the public's eye. That is what people are right now kind of just berating like Apple with. Why does it cost so much? Why? When in fact, I think their prices for the most part are, with the Mac Pro and the display, are pretty reasonable. A 10-bit display, a true 10-bit display at only $6,000 or $5,000, that's a pretty good deal. There are professionals out there who are going to be more than happy to spend that type of money, especially when displays such as that, they are, tens of thousands of dollars. They're not just thousands of dollars, they're tens of thousands of dollars. Bottom line, the Mac Pro is not going to be the item that really, drives a hole in the professional's budget because of how expensive it is. Because compared to a lot of other things that you could buy, it's reasonably priced. I will admit, to me, it seems very odd that Apple would even bother announcing such an expensive item to the general public. Sony does not come out and announce, the F65 to the general public. And in regards to the pricing, the bottom tier Mac Pro, I believe, is kind of a ripoff. And I think Apple is counting on a lot of people, just being sheep, breaking the bank, trying to, get a taste of the pro experience or whatever. And they're going to buy that computer, and it really has not that great of specs. You really need to send out a lot more money in order to get the true professional experience. But a lot of people are going to buy the lowest tier Mac, and Apple's going to make a fortune from it. And then the handful of true professional users, they'll buy the much more high-end versions of the Mac Pro. Also, if you notice what Apple has done with the iMac Pro and the Mac Pro, what they've kind of done is create this really strange riff. Basically with a MacBook Air and a MacBook, you really cannot do that much of heavy editing, or you can't really do a lot of 3D work and stuff like that, if any at all, just because of how weak the computer is. But you go up from there, and it's like slight increments, but then high hikes in price, but slight increments in performance. And then along comes the iMac Pro and the Mac Pro, and it's like they dropped this whole user base, which honestly is most of the world. Most of the world is not, they're not Hollywood editors. They're not Hollywood colorists and, animators and whatever else. There are people who are much more, they're freelancing. They're making their own stuff. They're doing YouTube videos. They're going and shooting weddings. They're going and they're making, corporate video for a company. And this Mac Pro machine, even the iMac Pro, doesn't feel like it's for them. It really doesn't. You can build something better and for a lot less money than the base models of the iMac Pro and the Mac Pro. But yes, I do believe that they have kind of created this weird rift in their product line where you have these massive, mega machines that will do so much, but like half, no, over half, like 3/4 or more of their audience, the people who use the iPhone, the iPad, the MacBook, the iMac and stuff like that, they can't buy those things. They just don't have the money for it. Yet Apple just blatantly, really, opens it up to the general public, and everyone then flies into a fit of anger because they can't afford that. Well, you can't afford it because it's not for you. All right, I think you're smart enough to get the point. You're probably already looking over on my left or your right for another video, or if you're on mobile, you're looking down below. If you want to know who I am, you should subscribe, like this video, and yeah, go ahead and choose a video over there or down below, and just have a good night, good morning, a good midday, wherever you may be. And they don't list prices. Prices? They don't list prices? What are prices? You mean lists? Oh, prices. That one. Oh, okay, in answer... In what? Alright, here we go. Here we go. We're jogging towards the camera. We're gonna run. We're gonna knock over the camera. Blow the light out. Explode the place. Throw a bomb and destroy her face. I don't even know. I'm sweating so much right now. But I'm a guy, so it doesn't matter. Oh crap. Garbage. My recorder died.